A man who typically objectifies women gains the ability to read their thoughts. And so he begins to discover that all those terrible attitudes are not the best. That's why today what they want. This is about Nick Marshall, a businessman raised around women due to his mother's cabaret job. He also grew up without a father, so the only men he had as role models were the typical ones who were with a different woman every night. And that's exactly what he became. A normal day in his life starts with him waking up after a romantic evening to get ready to go to his office, stopping to approach or touch every woman he finds attractive. And despite his terrible behavior, he always gets his way. He even manages to get a date with a waitress who was rejecting him just a few seconds ago. After that, he goes straight to his office, where he clearly also makes some of his coworkers uncomfortable. There, they hold a meeting to announce his promotion. They inform him that Darcy will take the position he wanted as the company seeks a new strategy. And they thought it would be best to hire a woman to sell products for women. And that's not his only problem, since his ex-wife is getting married that same day. And for her honeymoon, he'll have to stay with his daughter for a week. That doesn't matter now because he has to attend the meeting where he'll meet Darcy. Although many initially doubt him, he eventually earns respect from some colleagues and even his boss, since he proposes a different campaign so that the company can be more sensitive to women and so that men can put themselves in their shoes. He gives them a box of feminine items to try on. Still, this only deepens Nick's distrust, as it all feels like silly games to him. On his way home, even though he works at a company selling products for women, he doesn't care about them and just sees them as objects. Still, he goes along with Darcy and uses all the girly things she gave him. Maybe he didn't pick the best time, since his daughter and her boyfriend arrived minutes later. She doesn't care much about finding him that way. She's just upset he took her music record without asking. But she gets even angrier when her father shows that he never listens to her and doesn't even remember him. The guy, the one she just introduced to him. After the argument, he keeps thinking, and when he remembers, tries to tell his daughter, but stumbles. He falls into the bathtub and gets electrocuted by a hairdryer. He lies there unconscious on the floor, but the cleaning lady wakes him up. And that's when all the strange things start happening. Because even though she doesn't move her lips, he can hear what she's saying. He ignores this. But when he leaves to go to his office, he realizes he can hear people's thoughts, but only women's. And so he hears some things that are kind of strange, almost,
It kills me.
Too bad it failed.
But that's also how he finds out that his coworkers, who always smiled at him at work, actually think he's an idiot. Although what worries him the most is that hearing so many things at once is driving him crazy. So he tries to ask his coworker for help, but he doesn't believe him and just tells him to stop saying those things because he could get fired. He should focus on finding a good idea for the meeting with Darcy. Nick agrees and tries to contribute. Even though he reads women's thoughts, his ideas still fail. So he goes back and tries to recreate everything he did before reading thoughts. So he tries all the women's products again. And he takes advantage of the storm to go out in the rain and turn on the hairdryer. There he faints again, but wakes up on a couch as if nothing happened. And he tries to check if he no longer has that curse, but conveniently, he can't find any women to check if everything wasn't fixed. So he has to go to a mall where everything seems to have turned out just the way he wanted. But his happiness crumbles when he realizes that everything is still the same. Nick can't think of anything else. Another idea is to see the couples therapist who saw him and his ex-wife years ago. Like most women, she also thinks he's an idiot and doesn't believe anything he says. But that gets solved easily when he starts telling her everything she's thinking. At first, she thought about recommending him to another specialist, but then she just tells him that. Now that he can know what women want, he should take advantage of it to give them what they want and become a kind of king. And although at first he does start treating some girls well, when he's with Darcy, he steals all her ideas, looks good in front of his boss, even though she doesn't know that, and just thinks he has good ideas. Besides, he pretended to have a good relationship with his daughter so that Darcy would think he's a good man. They return home and try to fix things with his daughter, following Darcy's advice, and he invites her to go shopping another day to look for a nice dress for the dance. That night, he goes on a date with a waitress. Though things started off poorly, he finds that mind reading is very useful for intimacy. That's how he wins her over. He continues his life, treating women well and stealing Darcy's ideas. Although all the girls think he's great, Darcy senses something is wrong and tries to confront him. But in the end, things don't go her way.
Don't fall in love with someone with work or with him.
Still, she's not the only one who's starting to have feelings for him. Nick also seems to empathize more and more with her, and they start spending a lot more time together. But then he has to take his daughter to buy a dress for the graduation dance, just like he promised her. After that, they go to have lunch at a restaurant where he tries to talk to her about having sex, since he knows she plans to have her first time with her boyfriend. Still, his attempts don't work because his daughter is very angry with him for being an absent father, so she prefers to leave without even finishing her meal, rather than believe her father has changed. That same night, he gets a call from Darcy and they end up having a date. They discover she was married, but separated because her partner didn't love her. From then on, she distrusted all men. But we also find out that our protagonist started to respect her because of the way she works. After talking for a while, they end up kissing. Since she's unlike other women he's dated, he chooses to move slowly and declines her invitation to her apartment. As he was about to enter his house, he saw the waitress he had slept with a few days earlier waiting outside his building. She thought their relationship was serious and couldn't stand that he didn't call to see her again. Since he doesn't want to keep hurting himself, he tells each woman a small lie so she thinks he's the one who can't be with her. Anyway, this doesn't matter because what matters is he keeps taking credit for Dockery's ideas, especially now that they're about to close a major deal with an important company. But even though he tried to fix things by telling Dockery that she should present the new campaign to the company, she thinks he doesn't deserve the recognition for work he didn't do. Besides, since she's totally in love now, she wants the best for him. Unable to do anything else, she presents to the new company and seals the deal. She still wants to apologize to Dockery, so she writes him a letter confessing everything and asking for forgiveness, but can't finish it. She interrupts him so they can celebrate and takes him to a house she's renovating that she recently bought. There, they spend their time talking and dancing, since the empty house leaves them with nothing else to do. The next day, he goes to his job determined to fix his mistake, and he goes straight to his boss to tell him that Darcy was the one who had all the ideas. But his boss is already convinced Nick is his best brother and employee, so he gives him the deserved promotion. This all seems strange to our protagonist, since that role belongs to Darcy. Since she didn't contribute to the new campaign, they decided to fire her and had already signed an agreement. He still begs his boss to rehire her, convincing him they landed the important contract because of her. Just like that, she gets her job back, but now faces another problem. There was a girl with suicidal thoughts he had been watching over, but that day he didn't go to work. He's understandably worried she did something terrible, even though it's raining. Will he look for her? At first, he couldn't find the girl's apartment address, so he had no choice but to ask for help from an elderly woman who was nearby. The lady tells him that he has to go through an alley. As he passes through, some wires above short circuit. He ignores it and quickly heads to the girl's house. Since the door was open, he enters and finds a suicide note, but it turns out to be a misunderstanding. And when he meets her, he says that he finally stopped hearing all the thoughts. No time to celebrate, since it's more important to help her and stop her from hurting herself again. He offers her a better job to motivate her to focus on her future. After resolving this, he resumes searching for Darcy and visits her apartment, but she chooses to ignore him because she's in a bad mood. With all this going on, he completely forgot about his daughter's dance, and now she's locked herself in a bathroom, crying, because her boyfriend left after she said she wasn't ready for sex. Thanks to a girl in her father's words, she calms down and they return home. After his daughter falls asleep, he keeps trying to apologize to Darcy and heads to her new house. And finally, they meet. At first, he just tells her that they're going to hire her back. But when he sees that she thinks she deserves to be fired for not doing her job properly, he tells her he got into her head to steal all her ideas. Although it's in the past and was just a foolish mistake, he now fully regrets. But above all, he tells her that he is in love with her. Still, this is not enough because, like Darcy, she got her job back, which means she is still his boss. She decides to fire him for everything he did. That's where their relationship ends for good. He leaves feeling completely regretful and like a loser for having confessed his feelings and being rejected. But not everything is as it seems, because as soon as he leaves, she follows to admit she was wrong to let him go. Shouldn't that stop them from being together? Now that he knows he can't treat women like objects, he can take his new relationship seriously and live happily ever after. That's what they want. Remember to like, comment which movies you'd like to see, subscribe, and enable notifications so you don't miss future videos.